Nobody dreams about retiring and moving in with their adult children, yet more and more baby boomers are doing exactly that. Some absolutely love it, others cannot wait to move out. So, what is it really like? Today, I'm sharing what I've learned from living it myself. When I retired, I had a big decision to make: stay in California or accept my youngest son's invitation to move in with him and his fiance in Central Texas. I remembered my grandma Stevens. She lived with one of her daughters, but she had her own little apartment downstairs. She had privacy when she wanted it, family whenever she wanted it, and it always seemed like the best of both worlds. That's more or less what I imagined when I said yes. So I packed up my life, put most of my belongings into storage, and moved into one of the bedrooms in their three-bedroom house. It was the first time in 25 years that I had shared a home with anyone. 5 years later, there are things I would never want to give up and things I never saw coming. And that's what I want to talk about today. In this video, I'm going to share some of my observations, things I may or may not have considered before making this move. I want to preface this by saying this isn't a commentary on whether living with adult children is a good or bad decision. It's simply a lifestyle that comes with significant trade-offs. And I'm just going to point out my own observations of some of the blessings and challenges. The things that I'm going to mention are from my point of view. My son and his wife may have an entirely different perspective, but these are the blessings and challenges that I notice. First of all, of course, there is reduced financial stress. We share in the cost of rent and utilities and internet and groceries and those sorts of things. And that means that I have more cash available to spend on special occasions or goals that I have. And that's always a nice thing. We have more family time together. We don't just see each other on vacations or on holidays, but we have experiences on a day-to-day basis that we're making some of the little moments and little memories that we will talk about in the years to come. And there's that companionship as well. It's a built-in support system. If I have a challenge, I don't need to face it alone. I've got someone else to bounce ideas or concerns on and get their perspective, and that's very helpful. And I can help out my adult children. I know that's not something that everybody wants to do, but it works in our family. I can help with the chores. Well, I do help with the chores and the finances, of course. And if they are going to have a special date night or going out of town, I can house sit and pet sit for them. So that's a way that I can help them out. There's also an increased sense of security. And for me, as I age, it's very helpful to feel secure in where I live. I don't have to worry about what that strange noise outside is because I know my son will take care of it if it's a problem. There's also less household responsibility. I don't have to worry about everything in the house. I don't have to worry about cleaning everything or being responsible for everything. It's shared and I don't have to do quite as much, which is great. And of course, there are emotional benefits. There's someone to talk with instead of just living alone. We share meals, we have conversations, there's emotional engagement and a shoulder to lean on in times of challenges. And we have had some challenges where we've been very grateful to have each other to lean on. Of course, there are some challenges that I want to mention as well. The first is loss of privacy. Before I moved here, I lived by myself in a house, and so I didn't have to concern myself about privacy. Now, if I want to have a private phone conversation or just have some time on my own, I need to go into my room and close the door. And the same is true for my kids. They don't have as much privacy because mom slash mother-in-law is living in the same household and is just right around the corner. We also have some different ideas about how the household runs, different ideas about cleanliness, different ideas about the level of noise, how often the TV is going, um, where the thermostat is set. These are things that we may not necessarily have the same idea, so of course we have to compromise. Sometimes I do feel a little bit like a guest in their home. I would never try to rearrange the furniture in the living room or go into the kitchen and start cooking up a storm without asking my daughter-in-law, because that really is her domain. So I feel like I need to ask permission about any of the common areas. Our parenting styles are a little bit different. They don't have children, but they do have dogs. And I think I'm a little bit more strict in getting the dogs to do what they're supposed to do. So there's a little bit of compromise that needs to be done there. And as I have found out, unsolicited advice is not necessarily appreciated. We do have some differences in our lifestyles. They tend to be a little bit more solitary, and I think I'm a little bit more social. I would never invite friends over without checking in with them first, and I think it might make them uncomfortable if I tried to have our household be real social. So that's one example of different lifestyles. Sometimes I feel like a third wheel. I know that it's helpful to them if I'm going with them and I can kind of help corral the dogs and keep them in line. But I'm sure that they would sometimes prefer to have just the two of them, and mom is just an extra. And that, of course, means that a lot of times they have less time as a couple, which I'm very conscious about and hope that it's not being a real detriment to their marriage. I try not to get involved in any of their conflicts between each other, and fortunately that is rare, but it's not my business to step in, even if I think I might have a perspective that would be helpful. It's just nope, no talking about that. Sometimes it's a little harder to set boundaries. I may have expectations that are quite different from what theirs are. And of course, there's always the future contemplations about things that could change. What if somebody dies? What if somebody loses their job? What if somebody wants to move? So these are all things that are maybe not so much challenges as things that need to be considered a little bit more strongly than all of the great benefits of living together in the same household. Here are some tips on how to make this kind of living arrangement a workable option. Set expectations early. Discuss finances, chores, privacy, and responsibilities before moving in. Create personal space. Whether it's a small private sitting area or a bedroom retreat, this can make a big difference. Respect each other's independence. Living together doesn't mean living each other's lives. You don't have to be included in everything if you don't want. Communicate openly. Address small frustrations before they become major conflicts. Share responsibilities fairly. Everyone contributes in ways that fit their abilities, whether it's through money or chores or child care or home maintenance or whatever is needed. Maintain outside interests. Continue your hobbies, your volunteer work, keep your friendships and social activities so life doesn't revolve entirely around the household. And schedule family meetings. A routine check-in can help resolve issues before resentments build. Living with your adult children is not a sign of failure or success. It's simply one way families adapt to life's changing seasons. And it isn't just about sharing a house. It's about learning how to share your lives. One thing I've learned is that there's no perfect answer. Every family is different, every home is different, and every season of life brings new challenges and new blessings. Retirement isn't just about where we live, it's about how we choose to live and how we choose to love the people around us. Sometimes that means living under one roof, sometimes it doesn't. Either way, hopefully, we're all still becoming our best selves together. So, I would love to hear from you. Have you ever lived with your adult children, or is it something you would consider? If so, what's been the biggest blessing or the biggest challenge? I think we can all learn from each other's experiences, so let's keep the conversation going in the comments. I hope you found this video to be interesting, thought-provoking, or useful, or all of the above. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. I'm Jerry. I'm 70 and still becoming, and I hope you are still becoming your best self too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.